We analyze millennials and their avocado toast. We obsess over boomers and their real estate. Gen Z and their side hustles get entire think pieces. But sitting quietly in the middle is a demographic void that often escapes the headlines. Generation X, born between 1965 and 1980, has quietly amassed more wealth than millennials, yet they remain largely ignored by cultural commentators. They're your coworker with a massive portfolio who behaves like they're one paycheck from disaster. The uncle with $50,000 in savings who refuses to replace his 15-year-old Toyota. The friend who aggressively clips grocery coupons but drops $500 on concert tickets. To the outside world, their money psychology looks irrational. It follows a logic that is distinct from any other generation. To see why they act this way, we have to look back at 1983 and the specific economic promise that was dismantled right as they reached their peak earning years. Picture this, it's 1983. You're 10 years old and you are witnessing the height of a specific economic contract, a formula built on corporate permanence. You watch your dad deposit his steady paycheck from the same company he has worked at for 15 years. The teller knows his name. The savings account pays interest, the pension is fully guaranteed, and the mortgage paid on schedule. Flash forward to 2008. You're 35 years old. You followed that exact formula to the letter, and you watch your 401k get cut in half. You watch your home values crater, and you watch your secure, stable company start laying off people who had been there for 2 decades. Watching that formula collapse forced a shift in how this generation calculates risk. These aren't irrational fears. They are practical adjustments to a world that stopped playing by the rules they were taught. Look at this chart comparing retirement anxiety with actual 401k contribution rates. According to the 2023 Transamerica Center, 70% of Gen X are terrified about retirement, yet they maintain the second highest contribution rates. They don't believe the system works, but feed it anyway. Psychologists call this defensive pessimism. Assuming imminent failure triggers an obsessive preparation loop, ensuring you're covered when disruption arrives. This logic extends to how they work. Federal Reserve data shows Gen X has higher rates of self-employment and secondary income streams than both boomers and millennials. They have adopted the side hustle at scale, but they rarely quit their day jobs. While younger generations might frame side hustles around entrepreneurial ambition, for Gen X, they function as an insurance policy against corporate abandonment. They remember 1995, when they watched veteran employees, people who had been at companies for decades, lose everything during mass downsizing. No warning, no safety net. For Gen X, a rental property or consulting gig isn't a path to becoming a CEO. It's an escape tunnel, maintained in case the main exit collapses again. This generation will job hop or quit a Fortune 500 company without a second thought. Yet they remain strangely loyal to consumer brands. This breakdown from an Adobe study shows that Gen Xers are 34% more likely than millennials to stick with brands from their youth. They will drive across town for the specific coffee shop they trust, even when cheaper alternatives exist. This behavior is rooted in experience. Large institutions and corporations broke their promises. Individuals, local businesses, and specific tangible products did not. You can hold a person or a tangible product accountable for failure. When a massive corporation fails you, you usually just get a severance check and a form letter. Gen X is a loyal generation, but they have learned to redirect that loyalty away from faceless institutions and toward entities they can independently verify. These aren't the habits of anxious pessimists. They are the tactics of seasoned realists who have adjusted to a volatile economy. They were the first to normalize multiple income streams and zero corporate reliance, adopting these tactics out of necessity long before they became mainstream career advice. As economic volatility and job insecurity become more common for millennials and Gen Z, the protective habits of Gen X are looking more like a standard for navigating the modern workforce. In an economy where the old formula is gone, the habits of expecting the worst and building a way out are becoming the most effective tools for survival. There is a demographic right now whose money habits completely break every rule of traditional economic theory. Take their spending. Despite being financially paranoid, they outspend every other age group on live events, dropping thousands of dollars to see bands they loved in high school. Then look at how they borrow. They carry the highest total debt load in the country, yet they will aggressively refuse to keep even a $200 balance on a piece of plastic. And consider their record keeping. This is the exact cohort that built the modern internet and digitized the global economy, yet they still insist on printing out physical bank statements to keep in a drawer. Looking at this behavior, you have to ask, what is actually going on? Are they just confused? Did they fail to understand basic personal finance? Or are they simply stuck in the past? Gen X operates within a unified, highly adapted psychological framework built on the absolute, unshakable distrust of systems. When a corporation fails you, you get a severance check and a form letter. Gen X learned early on that institutional promises hold very little weight, so they shifted their trust toward personal experiences. If you buy a house, the bank can put it underwater. If you buy a car, it loses value the second you drive it away. Physical possessions mean nothing when the economy tanks. But a memory of a 1994 concert? Nobody can repossess that. In an unstable environment, a memory is the ultimate safe asset. This graphic illustrates why they apply that exact same need for control to how they borrow. They separate their obligations into two categories: mapped debt and chaos debt. Looking at the structured timeline on the left, mapped debt is something like a $400,000 mortgage. They take this on because it is predictable, with a fixed monthly payment and a clear timeline pointing straight to zero. Now, over on the chaotic side, we have credit cards. It is an infinite, compounding loop of interest that never actually closes. Gen X watched this exact type of quicksand swallow their parents whole in the 1980s and 90s. Their high debt levels represent a strict internal rule: only leverage debt that has a definitive and controllable endpoint. This exact need for control dictates how they invest. According to data from Cerulli Associates, they are the least likely generation to use financial advisors, even though they remain highly anxious about doing retirement right. They prefer to manage their portfolios themselves because they still believe in self-education via books and spreadsheets. They watched their own parents blindly trust financial experts with their pensions, and they saw exactly how that turned out. Because they refuse to blindly trust experts, they engineer their own safety nets. It's a practice called redundancy by design, bridging their technological literacy with their systemic paranoia. They use cloud storage and digital banking apps, but over 60% of them also maintain physical, paper files of all their important documents. They remember when databases crashed and digital promises evaporated. Maintaining paper records provides a vital safety net. They trust technology to work most of the time, but they trust paper to work all the time because they have survived multiple system failures. Put all these behaviors together and an identity emerges. Gen X are financial survivalists. They adapted to an economy that promised them a safe, linear path to security and then failed to deliver. University of Michigan research points out that they grew up watching consumer debt reach new highs in their childhood homes. And then, right in their prime earning years, they took the hit of the 2008 crash. But here is what makes them unique. Despite all of that financial trauma, they don't boycott the system. They still invest in the market, they still show up to work, and they still buy real estate. Their operational philosophy is simple. You have to participate in the economy to survive, but you self-educate, you verify the numbers twice, and you trust absolutely no one to do it for you. They continue to play the game, but they never, ever forget that the game is rigged. No generation's money habits are random. Whether you stash cash under a mattress or put everything into index funds, your behaviors are always direct, logical responses to the specific economic world that shaped you. Think about your own generational psychology. Drop a comment below about the money habits you've noticed in yourself, or even your parents, and let's see how the timeline matches up.